If you follow the news regularly, the world can seem like a dark place. The terrorist attacks in Brussels this week sparked another round of debate, both here in the U.S. and abroad, about how to deal with extremists. But today, just as with past generations, there's still hope when you talk to many young people. There are high school exchange students attending classes and building relationships with people right now in New Mexico. We learned about the Yes Foreign Exchange program, which was created by the U.S. State Department after the attacks on September 11th. And our producer, Sarah Gustavus, sat down recently with students and a leader from AFS, formerly known as the American Field Service, to talk about the Yes program and the value of sending students to other countries to learn and experience a new culture.
Kwame Achuri, National Director for AFS Ghana, thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
You're in town to tell folks about what it's like to have a student come to Ghana, correct?
Yeah.
Great. Rama Safitri, a student at Valley High School, and you're here from Indonesia. Thanks for coming in this week.
Yeah, thank you.
And Catherine Flutterman, you're a student at Sandia Prep, and you lived in Turkey for a year. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
Rama, I want to ask you first, what's surprised you most about life in New Mexico? You've been here since last August.
The big cultural difference. The culture in Indonesia and New Mexico is really different, especially when the first time I came here. In Indonesia, hugging it's not that common, especially for the different gender. So in here, so there was a boy that hugged me, and I was so surprised because of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really shocking me, and now I'm used to it. That's fine.
And what's it been like at your school? Are you enjoying your classes?
Yeah, I'm enjoying that much because every teacher was really nice to me, and they always help me. For example, like for the first time, it's difficult for me because the difference of language, but they try to explain that more deeper to me. So it was nice, yeah.
And what do you do outside of school time?
Outside school time, usually I teach my neighbor across the street for math, for his homework, and also I volunteering for Ronald McDonald House.
We're so glad to have you here in Albuquerque.
Thank you.
And Catherine, tell me a little bit about your time in Turkey. You were there for a year. How did that change how you see that part of the world?
Before I went, I really just I didn't know anything about that area, and I think it's really easy to fall into the idea that that area of the world is all the same and it's all just kind of a dangerous area because some of it is at war, there's unrest there, but I went and it was a lot like America, and it became a home to me, and I had a family there and I had friends there and I had this whole life there, and I just completely fell in love with it, and I made myself a life there and I found a home there and I just loved it so much.
What are some of the things you did with your host family?
We would have dinner together every night, and so they would ask me like what happened at school because they wanted to help me with the language. And then on the weekends sometimes we would go like to the beach, or we would go visit my host grandparents. And sometimes they would just take me like on their errands and we would go shopping, or I would go with my host mom like to the market. But those were like my favorite things to do, were the kind of like mundane seeming things, because those are the times that I got to see like the real life moments and just get to become a part of the family.
Absolutely. And Kwame, you, I hear, are very passionate about foreign exchange, and you were a foreign exchange student yourself many years ago. How did that change how you see the world today?
Well, it brought the world closer to my doorstep, and I got to understand that people may be different in their thinking, but then once whatever they do works for them, that's acceptable. So I learned to accept differences. I became more open, and I got to know who I was.
And where did you do your exchange?
I was in a small town called Clover in South Carolina in 1979.
And your children have studied abroad in France. What changes did you notice in them when they came back to Ghana?
Well, my kids, two kids, my first boy and then my girl, they went to France on exchange. And when they came back, they had become very assertive. And they planned together with the family. They're able to give us productive points and so on. And they are bolder. They have decided in life what they want to do. And I think that's a very positive thing about it.
Now, in the students that you've worked with in the past, do you find that it gives them some confidence and some clarity beyond, what they might be already doing in school?
Absolutely. All the students that come to Ghana on the exchange program, and just like any other place in the world, when you go, you discover yourself, you sometimes even rearrange your academic pursuit. You plan to be something, but then you go to the country, or you come to Ghana, and then you realize that, oh, hey, I can do that, I can do this. One example is one of my exchange students, yes, abroad students who came to Ghana, and he did culinary arts in Ghana, and he has learned a new type of cuisine, and I believe in future he's going to, you guys are going to hear about some great chef somewhere.
Oh, I am passionate about food myself. I'd love to see someone cooking Ghanaian food here in the U.S. or even in New Mexico. That would be exciting. Rama, what are some of the challenges that you face? You mentioned already the hugging and the language. Are there any other challenges that you face living in New Mexico?
Actually, it's about the stereotypes from my friends about my religion. Mm-hmm. I'm a Muslim, and some of them kind of like, oh, in their mind, Muslim is like all completely terrorists. And I tried to explain to them, and some of them understand me, and some people that didn't understand me. So I just trying to explain more, and now they accept me in here, and I'm so happy about that, to clear about misunderstanding about my religion. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you felt welcome in New Mexico wearing the headscarf?
Yeah, there's no problem to wearing my hijab, especially if when I was going to school, they're completely fine. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just curious about why you should wear your hijab. And so I'm just explain it's for my religion, to protect myself, and yeah, they understand it.
And there's a big national conversation right now in the United States about Muslim immigrants. What are you thinking as you maybe watch that on the news or talk with people about that debate?
For me, it's a little bit sad because it's a controversial problem. There's no one want to be like immigrate to the other country because of war, and everybody want to live in peace. So yeah, just try to understand, and yeah, for me, it's hard. It's a hard choice. Mm-hmm.
Catherine, Turkey is also a predominantly Muslim country. Did that change how you see the debate in the U.S. right now about Muslim immigrants or refugees?
It did, because, I mean, like, those are my friends and, like, my family now, and I just wish that the people who don't want Muslim immigrants coming to our country could see them from my perspective and could know that they're just like us. Like, everyone is, I mean, we're all the same in reality, and like could have the perspective that I've gotten through my exchange. And like some of my best friends from my exchange and my family, they were all Muslim. And I just wish that they had that perspective that I developed from my exchange and could have that and know that, we're all the same, and just have that understanding.
And do you talk with people right now in your school, your peers, that you have this perspective to offer? Do you kind of challenge them in some of those maybe things they might say about Muslim people?
Yeah, I try to. People sometimes they'll make jokes that I know that they're kidding sometimes, but I just tell them, like, that's not necessarily true. Like, I lived there. And most people, they don't have a firsthand experience with that part of the world or anyone of that religion. And they just make these assumptions based on the news or one interaction. And I have a whole year of my life lived there that I know. And so I try and just share that experience, and that was the whole point of doing a Yes Abroad exchange, was to go there and learn about it and then come back and share and try and break down barriers and break down stereotypes and share our experiences so that there would be fewer misunderstandings in the future.
Kwame, I'd like to get your reaction to that as well, the idea that people having that firsthand experience might change the conversation that we're having right now.
Absolutely, yeah. It's important that people have that feel, they have that interaction with the cross-section of their fears. I mean, what brings them their fears. Because without that, we're not making any progress. to stand from without and then just see a glimpse of something and just judge. That is rather unfortunate. It's like a blind man, 9 blind men who see an elephant. One touches the tail, says the elephant is like a snake. One touches the trunk of the elephant, says it's like a tree. One touches the snout, the trunk, says the elephant is like a python, you know, and so on and so forth. So, but we should look at it holistically, and if possible, try to have open debates with people with such differences, and not look at our biases and just turn them into animosities. I think it's unfortunate.
What do you hope students who come and study in Ghana would take back about the culture of Ghana and of that part of Africa to the United States or to New Mexico if they're from New Mexico?
There's one thing that I know for sure that students who come to Ghana learn. They come to realize that people in Ghana don't have much materially, but yet we are happy and we go on with life. There's more to life than material. So that impacts them very, very much. And when they come back home, they're able to manage the little they have or whatever much they have and to conserve. So that's one big difference. The other thing too, which I think that they take with them is that I think we are too hospitable to a fault. I think I live there and I know we are hospitable, but people come and tell me that and I'm like, wow, yeah, we are to a fault maybe.
Yeah.
But a positive fault.
Catherine, what's your advice for maybe if a student from New Mexico wants to prepare to go on an exchange, what should they be thinking about?
I would say prepare as much as you can in terms of, you know, learn as much of the language as you can. Think about the culture. Ask people who've gone before to your country what kind of things to bring, what kind of things to expect. But also don't have expectations going into it because no matter what, it's going to be different than what you expect. And also just don't be scared because it's scary to get on a plane and leave everything that you know behind and leave your family for 10 months. And I know how incredibly scary that is, but it's going to be the most incredible thing that you do, and it's going to be so incredibly worth doing. So just don't be scared to do it, and I just highly suggest doing it.
And Rama, part of your experience here is living with a host family here in New Mexico. What has that meant to you?
It's really meant a lot to me. Yeah, in Indonesia, I have 3 little sisters, and in here I didn't have any sibling. So I felt the difference. Live in like back home, I have 3 little sisters, and here not. So I'm kind of miss the loud of my house because of them, and in here it's kind of quiet, but it was okay. Yeah, I love my house parents in here. Yeah, they're really nice, and also my host mom and I was really different. Our religion is different, but it's okay. We just like understand each other that we have our own religion and just be respectful.
Mm-hmm. And Kwame, what's your hope for the future, for what you would like to see change in the dialogue in the U.S. and in other countries from students participating in programs like this? Why does it make you hopeful?
I see alumni from these programs do very meaningful studies in school. I see alumni engage in change-making projects. I see alumni very enthused and very motivated, and I believe that these alumni are the future leaders, and they will effect a lot of change. I also see host families and friends of students and teachers of students who are who have been on exchange program being receptive to the idea that we are all actually not different. You know, we may have different ways, but the values are all the same. So now I believe that with these, the spotlight is on the students, but then the synergies which are formed around the students also has a positive effect. And I believe that when these students become leaders, it's going to bring a whole new perspective. Leaders, not as just be presidents, but at least in their communities, their voices are going to be heard.
That's great. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We will put links to AFS and to the YES program on our website, newmexicoinfocus.org.
Thank you.
Thank you.